The Rundown is brought to you by Commonwealth Brewery Limited. Good evening and welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you join us again tonight. Well, hold on to your banking information for dear life, or you might just lose every single penny of your savings. Seriously. Now, in some cases, you probably won't even see it again. At least this is a fate of far too many Bahamians. And what's more is that those numbers are actually climbing. Take a look at this story by Danielle Dean, who has more on the Royal Bahamas Police Force's concern about phishing scams.
Successful in placing a number of persons before the court, being charged with receiving funds that were fraudulently sent to other persons' accounts.
This, according to officer in charge of the Financial Crimes Investigation Branch, Superintendent Anthony McCartney, a result of the noticeable and alarming rise in phishing scams here in the country.
We have had a number of customers from various financial institutions affected by the scam.
Superintendent McCartney advises the Bahamian public to remain cautious, despite the fact that only a select few banks have been the targets in past months. He added the scammers target every age group. Superintendent Yvette Roll-Davis, deputy at the Financial Crimes Investigations Branch, details the process.
What you have is the SMS text coming to the individual, apprising them that they were locked out of their account, or their account has been placed on hold. So the individual would then send a link asking them if they want to access the account further, for them to press that particular link. As they go into pressing the link, they're now forwarded to where they have to enter their username and their password.
It's then that the banking institution send a verification code that the fraudsters request from their victim. This code is the key to locking users out, making them powerless to the perpetrator's tactics. On the other hand, there's a more sneaky tactic that involves the willing participation of victims' family or friends in cahoots with scammers. But regardless of the method used,
once the persons are arrested, if the funds are still available on the bank account, we'll be able to get those funds back to the individuals whose accounts were compromised.
The fact of the matter, though, and a sad reality, each person is responsible for the information they release into the public. Yet the unit is devoted and determined to bring each perpetrator to justice. Reporting for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Danielle Dean.
All right, thanks a lot, Daniel. Let's talk about it for a second now, right? Because we're talking about phishing. This is nothing new. This has been around for some time, and obviously more and more Bahamians are now being impacted by the phishing scam. And you may see it, and see the thing about it is with particularly cell phones, you don't know it's a new scam until you see these messages coming. You're wondering, well, should I respond? This is saying that you have a bill outstanding, click to pay it. You're outstanding traffic ticket, click to pay it. And you're wondering, okay, maybe this could be real. And that's why I always tell people, if you don't authentically know of something that should be coming to your phone, don't open it. Always call the institution and find out, are you sending me this? Is this something I need to be doing? Anything that tells you online by WhatsApp or text message to open and put your information in, most likely it's a scam, because that's not how professional institutions operate. They just don't do that. They always have a safe operating environment and system for you to put your sensitive information in. Most of the times they're not going to ask for passwords or special information that's identical to or that's intimate to your tied to your personal finances. Far too many Bahamians are being caught in this scam. And sadly, I know many people are sitting there thinking, why would you go ahead and do it? Well, the reality is sometimes people are not paying attention, or sometimes people are generally thinking, I'm expecting for somebody to reach out to me on a matter. And so when they do get the information, they do go in to see what it is. They end up clicking, and by the time they recognize it's a scam, they've clicked too far and the information is stolen, and they lose their money. And people, I'm telling you, in this country, are losing thousands of dollars, not just hundreds or tens, thousands of dollars because of these phishing scams. And I believe there ought to be a greater campaign by the Royal Bahamas Police Force Cyber Unit to be able to help people understand what to stay away from. I also believe it's not just the police's job to help people. I think our financial institutions could do a lot more. I don't think they're going far enough. How much times do you hear financial institutions talking about it, or educating people on it, or doing special shows on it, or having special information to give to people on it? Not as much as I believe they can do. You may find that in some banking apps, there's a first screen that tells you beware of fraudulent activity, but that's about as far as they go, right? And you would think that if banks are seriously concerned about their clients, they will go a little further in protecting the assets of their clients. And that's more than just putting a memo up on a screen and hoping that your clients see it. I believe there ought to be consistent and regular intervention to update consumers on these scams. Not let it go off in a distance, but to constantly remind people, so it's constantly at your mindset to be aware of this. Then here's the second point that I believe many Bahamians are frustrated about, and I've voiced it: recovering those funds. You go to the bank, right? Because this is what happens. The bank tells you if you've been defrauded, come to the bank, make a report of it, fill out the form or the information online or in the bank institution of transactions that are not yours and all these other things, or what took place or what money was taken from you. They will investigate it. Why does it take 8 months or 9 months for an investigation to be concluded? And then yet, so many people still don't hear from the bank. And you're calling, following up, and nothing. They're quick to get the money, but if money is removed from you that you didn't do, it takes forever to get it back. Sometimes you don't get the full amount back. I think in a time where phishing and other scams are so prevalent, banks ought to up their game in investigations to ensure people get their funds in a timely fashion. Somehow it just seems as though they don't take as much effort. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, I'm just saying that's how it seems, that they don't take as much effort in investigating your matters than they do in trying to do matters pertaining to them. Funds are accidentally taken off your account by accident, or funds were misplaced in your account. They move proactively, quickly, to recover, or they debit your account and leave you in a minus, but they don't credit you back while they're investigating. Interesting there, though. But I think we have to have a more proactive way in our country of dealing with this, since we are in the digital era, the cyber arena, where these kinds of illegal activities are on the rise, and they're prevalent worldwide. Bahamians are traveling all over the world using their cards, and it's prevalent. I think the response ought to be a little more efficient by financial institutions, so that Bahamians can have a better opportunity of recovering their money. Okay, enough said on that. Let's go to another story tonight. Some good news on the tourism front. You may have heard that a fire impacted Comfort Suites Hotel on Paradise Island. Well, the hotel confirmed in a release today that the area endured severe afternoon thunderstorms yesterday, which resulted in lightning striking one of the property's transformers. Now, that led to a fire erupting in the basement. Now, the resort credits the quick action of employee Ken Roll. Way to go, Ken Roll, who just happened to be in the area, and he immediately sprung into action by extinguishing the blaze. Officials say the true champion of Comfort's quick thinking, mitigating an even larger catastrophe. The resort has confirmed that the damage was only confined to its electrical room, and thankfully, no one was injured. Comfort Suites officials are grateful to the Royal Bahamas Police Force and its Fire Services Department for acting quickly. So we have a hero, don't we? We have a local hero, Ken. Now, Comfort Suites, I hope you take care of Ken, right? Because he helped to mitigate what could have been a big loss, and nobody had a job today. But Ken Roll, employee there, they had to treat you good, right? Not just saying thank you. I'm glad they're acknowledging you, because some people don't do that. But I think at the end of the day, they should go a little further, right? Well, on his way out the political door, distinguished law scholar, educator, and current Minister of National Insurance and Immigration, the Honorable Alfred Sears, reminded his regional parliamentary colleagues of the uphill battle still faced in reaching true gender equity. Minister Sears participated in a panel discussion during day 4 of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association's annual meeting, which addressed the separations of power and independent parliament. Notice of Assembly, the Caribbean region has a disproportionate parliamentary representation to its overall makeup. In most of these regional states, women account for more than half the population. Minister Sears on why this matters.
Among the women of our country, they're committed to education, committed to professional development, and also engage in very innovative activities, creating businesses, and also, of course, engage in the development of our institutions, all of our institutions. We must engage women and make the political process hospitable, because they are amongst the best prepared within our society and have a tremendous contribution to make at every level of the political process.
Some strong points there. The reality is, people say it, politics is dirty. And whether you believe that or not, and whether that's true or not, and whether that can be transformed is another topic. But the reality is we have some of the brightest minds in women who, and I hate when we distinguish a difference, right? Because we make it seem as though women, it's an anomaly if you have a smart woman who should be in the front line of leadership. That shouldn't be an anomaly. That should be a regular thing, because you're a woman doesn't mean you're not capable. It shouldn't mean that, oh, you're a woman who's leading, you're outstanding. No, that's a normal trait. It shouldn't matter whether you're male or female. It's a good quality to have. But the reality is there's so many people that don't step in the political arena because they don't want to go through what politics produces or what it takes to go in the front of people and discuss and what it takes to go through it. And so a lot of people just refrain from it and go into the business world when they can create and offer so much more contribution to our national development in the political arena. And the question we have to be asking ourselves is, are we getting the best in our political arena, or are we not getting the best in our country because people are just saying it's not worth the headache and the hassle? And then our national development is not as successful as it can be because people simply don't want the stress of what it comes along with. So I think the Honourable Minister Sears is making a very valid point, but I believe there ought to be more dialogue and engagement on why women, why smart people, why intelligent leaders are not offering themselves in that sphere, and what is leading to them walking away from it and not facing it. It's an interesting discussion, particularly as our country goes into political season and people are presenting themselves for candidacy. What does it mean? What does it mean, and who's presenting, and why they're presenting, and who's not presenting, that could be presenting, what are their reasons for not doing it, and create dialogue so that we can see how we can advance our country. Our country has the potential, we're already a great nation, right? But we have the potential of being an even greater nation. But that means there has to be key people in key positions. That means that those who are capable of leading ought to be leading. Those who are qualifying themselves internationally and contributing to other countries ought to feel comfortable in coming home and doing the same thing. But what's prohibiting that development? What's prohibiting that from happening? That's where a greater discussion ought to happen. And maybe institutions like the University of the Bahamas may engage themselves in debates and public forum and discussion on matters like this, and hopefully shed some light so that Bahamians and those in government and those in politics can look at the factors that are impacting something so crucial like this in national development. Well, it seems like the debate is on again over VAT savings, right? This after government reduced certain items by 5% beginning September 1. You heard about it, it's in the news. But the opposition isn't buying it, saying these now reduced rate items were actually VAT-free under their administration. Well, tonight we're going to take a closer look at this story and also talk about another angle to it and how people are viewing it. We're going to talk to one of our journalists who's been covering this story, get his take and analysis on what is happening with this. And of course, Do you recognize? It's back to school. But for thousands of people, this month is also about getting a jump start on applying for college. That's right. You may say, well, college is at the end of this school year. No, but in order to get there, you got to start the journey now, right? So we're going to talk to someone who's crucial in helping Bahamians secure scholarships and what they ought to be doing now in this month to prepare for those scholarships. We're going to talk about that and about the 10-year journey to helping people be able to finance their tertiary level education. And are you ready to fall in love? Altavis Manning says yes. Well, that's a question we're going to answer in our final segment tonight. I'm going to leave that as a teaser for you. All this and more when the Rundown returns right here on the ZNS Network after the break. Stay close. Yeah.
Give me the white first. Let's double it. Make sure. They good? No, so we gotta come in. Right there. Right there. Out. Talk to me. Right there? Okay. Alright, we good? Turn this way.
Let me ask you something like Corville, as we go into political season, what are some of the issues are you seeing government and opposition addressing or fighting or going after? Let's see, you may want to make a note, a couple of issues that you think they've been debating. We know there's a VAT. We know they have also been debating.
There's always the issue of crime, handling of crime, immigration.
Definitely immigration.
Immigration.
And of course, the cost of living. So you can mention those three and talk about what both sides have been saying on either sides or whatever have you. Right?
Oh boy.
We'll have
So VAT, crime, immigration, cost of living. Okay.
Those are the main stuff. Welcome back to the Rundown. A special good evening to all of you who are joining us on your social media platforms. I see you. For those of you who are in the Lion's Den, it's always good to have you. And then those of you watching on your on YouTube, if you're around the country, watching on Flow TV or cable television, or in the region, those of you in Turks and Caicos Islands, the region or around the world on your various platforms. It is always good to have you join us here on the Rundown. Well, the Davis administration's recent value-added tax reduction on certain goods is already turning into a political football, with sides trading barbs of the amount of that reduction, its timing, and yes, even its significance. Take a look at this story by Colville Pfeiffer.
most of these items were actually VAT-free or zero-rated under the Free National Movement. So when the Progressive Liberal Party came into office, they increased VAT on these items by 10%, and now they are reducing it to 5%.
However, National Insurance and Immigration Minister, the Honorable Alfred Sears, doesn't understand the opposition's divisiveness on this issue. He welcomes the relief, especially for residents of his Fort Charlotte constituency. Minister Sears cautions that the global community has still not fully weathered this tumultuous economic storm.
When you have global disruption and the global logistics are impacted, of course it will increase the cost of living. And therefore, it's important that there be a greater government intervention to cushion and lessen the impact of the global dislocation that we are seeing throughout the world.
Still, Thompson feels the Davis administration's VAT reduction on these particular items falls short.
Which, again, is simply not enough. Also, it is like you've made the mess, and now you are attempting to clean up the mess, but you are still not going far enough.
Newly elected president of the equally newly established Bahamas Pharmaceutical Union, Dr. Marvin Smith, believes VAT rates on medicines could be reduced even further. He hints at eliminating the tax on pharmaceuticals entirely.
We need to be looking to talk to countries like India and creating memorandums of understanding that allow those products here directly without some of the middlemen in some of the other territories, right? Mm-hmm. And that will keep pricing down, but also give us good quality products.
Well, based on the people we spoke with earlier today, it's safe to say a number of Bahamian needs those items on which VAT has been slashed. Here's Danielle Dean with that angle.
Charles Skippings is a husband and father, and this 5% drop in VAT means much less spent monthly on feminine hygiene products.
I have a large family, 6 kids, 4 of them being girls, and I'm a married man, so that impact them greatly.
These views come after the government's enactment of a 5% decrease on medicine, medical supplies, feminine hygiene products, and baby and adult diapers. This concerned resident has an opinion about taxes on everyday necessities.
There shouldn't be tax. I always say that, but 5%, it's not bad.
As dependents upon hygiene items, these two women who both work in the medical field say this 5% decrease in VAT on medicine is a most welcome relief for clients they face daily.
I am very for the 5% decrease. I work in the medical field, and seeing how this benefits the clientele, the patients that are, having issues affording medication as is.
Because it's one of the biggest cries we hear, people cannot afford medication. So in that aspect, I think the 5% is good, but I think we could go back to zero if that is even nearly possible, because when we had a 0%, patients definitely enjoyed a better quality of life.
As consumers adjust to the change, the consensus is that this decrease was long overdue, but quite welcome. Reporting for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Danielle Dean.
Thanks, Danielle. Well, Bahamas Tonight reporter Corville Pyfrom joins us here at the desk to share details about the reaction of government's 5%, what does this mean, and of course some of the big issues that both sides are debating as we go into political season. Good to have you here, Corville, tonight.
It is good to be with you. Welcome back.
Thank you. I want to start there because, what you're hearing so many of the residents saying, I believe, is what people are saying, and that is, listen, can we just remove the tax for medicine particularly, because of the necessity of the items that people will need? Any kind of relief on the cost of it goes a long way. And so I believe people are saying, yes, we celebrate the 5%, but we do remember when it was zero. Can we get back to that? I want to start off, obviously, in your story with a debate between government and opposition as to whether this is a big gesture by the government or whether it's really just trying to get back to where it was before. The opposition seemed to think so and seemed to think that it wasn't going far enough, while the government kind of danced around it and didn't address it directly. Your take?
Well, I think we ought to start off talking first about the Free National Movement's Shadow Minister for Finance and East Grand Bahama Member of Parliament, Kwesi Thompson, who made the point that the opposition welcomes any measure that brings some economic relief to Bahamians. He does question, though, the timing of this, and really, like we said in the lead up to it, the significance about it, noting that, you know, this information given out by the government is a bit misleading. This administration first raised the rates on these particular items. Under the Free National Movement administration, Thompson points out that there was the rate for these items was zero. So they've raised the rates and now brought them down. This is the second time this year that we've seen a VAT reduction. We saw it back in April on unprepared foods sold in grocery stores. So again, opposition says we welcome it. We just have questions about the government's explanation. The government overall, you know, insists that this is a part of its caring, compassionate nature, and it's also proof that our economy is performing a lot stronger. So the government is able to relieve some of the economic burden off the backs of Bahamians.
Do you anticipate that there may be a further reduction? It's just happening in stages to kind of test the waters, make sure we're not shocking the system, and there could be further reduction.
You know, the Prime Minister, I think, has hinted all along that better economic performance means that, you know, nothing's off the table.
Right.
So nothing is off the table as it relates to that. But I think overwhelmingly, you know, a reduction is a reduction, and a reduction right now is welcomed, I think, overwhelmingly by Bahamians. And, you know, we think of medicines and stuff, we got to remember, yes, you know, oftentimes we're talking a lot about older people, but more and more of our population, you know, needs prescription drugs.
We recognize we have an issue here with healthcare, right? Non-communicable diseases in this country. People need access to medicine. And coupling with that is going to be obviously the National Health Insurance Plan, which we saw go through some concerns and issues. Vendors saying they weren't being paid. Minister Darville said they're working on it to try and get the lump sum payment to these vendors. But that's the concern. If you're going to move more of the country to this NHI plan, how are you going to fund it? How are you going to ensure that people can have access to quality, affordable health care and be able to get their medicine? And I think from the public's response, we heard there, people are concerned about being able to afford the necessary medicine to keep them alive.
Because two things are true at the same time, right? Yes, we are seeing indicators that our economy is performing stronger, but the cost of living remains too high. And so tackling those two issues is still, you know, there's still a long road ahead.
One of the things that Shadow Minister Kwesi Thompson said, and I wanted to get your take on that, what he means by that is the timing. What is he alluding to by saying they're concerned about the timing? What do you gather he's meaning about that?
The season?
Elections.
Yes.
Elections.
Yes.
That it could be just a tool for elections.
But we should be, in fairness to the government, though, the Prime Minister did make this announcement, you know, that this would take effect. This was made before summer, so like late May.
It wasn't just a decision last week that we're going to reduce it. It was something that
a lot of people may have forgotten about it. I don't think, you know, there was not much, I guess, hype leading up to September 1st, because, of course, back to school, I think, took precedence, but this was a promise made, and that's a promise kept as far as this government sees it.
I want to shift over to the issues that are obviously going to be prominent and be center stage during this upcoming election cycle and campaign, because you see the government and the opposition, you know, you say one thing, the other side responds. The other side says one thing, the other government responds. What are those areas and those issues that we're seeing dominate the discussion?
Issue number one, a lot of people want to know who's running. You know anything?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. What's issue number two?
Crime. They're talking crime. They are talking immigration. They are talking the cost of living. You know, immigration remains a big thing. We saw what happened with last week's announcement from the United States State Department that the Bahamas, the U.S. Embassy here in Nassau is now a hub, and for visa processing, and so that's caused some controversy. But of course, and we heard the Prime Minister say, under no circumstances will people just be allowed to come and be granted visas of entry.
Of course.
You know, just for that reason. We've also continued to have people coming into the country legally. We are seeing more and more apprehensions and that sort of thing. And so, and the opposition still hitting out at the government over a stronger immigration policy, which it says the current one just does not go far enough, nor does it do enough.
What? Because I hear immigration being that. People saying the policy. And I'm wondering, what are people looking for, right? Because if we look at the Bahamas, and I think we have to look at it rationally, particularly in light of other countries around the world, and the immigration crisis is not new to the Bahamas or the world. the world is grappling with immigration and migration, I should say. They're grappling with migration, and in some countries, it's far more challenging than it is here in the Bahamas.
Right.
We have, for the most part, done a pretty good job of protecting our borders. We have a large span of water. Defense Force is doing a magnificent job with it, thanks to OPAD and their partnership. So we're not seeing the amount of illegal landings that we've seen in the past. There's a crackdown. We've seen changes at the Department of Immigration. There's a crackdown. It's been pretty quiet. What is it that people are looking for to say that the policy is not working? We want a stronger policy. What are they actually wanting to see?
Well, Clint, I think we've got to start off firstly noting that immigration, no matter where it is, it's always an emotive issue, isn't it, right? But I think, and I think Bahamians, you know, we tend to think quickly about, like, you know, the shantytown things, but it goes beyond that, though. I think Bahamians really do want to know who's entering this country, the purposes they're entering it for, and also when you look at the granting of permits and that sort of thing. So immigration, we got to remember, covers a wide range of things. You know, right off the top of mind, I'm thinking of the Norman's Key situation a few weeks ago and what we saw come out of that. Right. You know, we've got to ensure that when we allow folks into this country, even as business owners, that the rights of Bahamians do not go unprotected.
That's a part of the discussion as well.
A big part of it.
I think you touched on something I think that we have to do, and that is the access to information, right? People want to just know, what are the numbers? What is happening? When you cannot give people those numbers and give people those information, they will speculate, right? Because in the face of not having information, people will make up information. And I believe that's where governments, consecutive governments, have to be more proactive in making information readily available. And that brings, when you talk about that, you think automatically of freedom of information, having access to the data so that people can be able to make a clear analysis as to what actually is happening in the country. So I think immigration is going to definitely be something to talk about. What else?
Just a final note here about immigration too, because I spoke to the Minister of Immigration, the Honorable Alfred Sears, yesterday, and he's happy with the morale at the Department of Immigration as well as the enthusiasm he says that he's seeing from officers. You know, in late July, there was a huge promotion exercise, and they also installed a new leadership team over at the Department of Immigration. Right. And the final point is that long-awaited immigration review report from the Immigration Commission, that's due out before year's end.
That's going to be interesting to see what's in that.
Yes, I think it will be.
All right. Cost of living.
Cost of living. Go into the food stores, go and try and do anything. You know, it's rent. We're constantly talking about rent and that sort of thing. And again, I think we still need to see more job creation, although, again, the government touts that it's doing well in terms of placing Bahamians on jobs. We're seeing a number of projects kick up. I was just in Exuma last week where ground was broken for again, a controversial project, but the Prime Minister gives it his full blessings. It's the Integra Rosewood property development that will mean a ultra luxury resort as well as a marina. There's work happening in Eleuthera. There are things happening in Maguana, just everywhere. So Celebration Key there in Grand Bahama. Grand Bahama still needs its bounce back. The Deputy Prime Minister recently giving assurances too that, you know, things are looking on the up and up for Grand Bahama, so the opposition says, well, we don't see it.
You guys have your hands full in covering all of these issues.
A lot to cover.
We're going to be listening and tuning in. Thank you, Bahamasonite reporter and anchor Corville Partram. Thank you.
It was great to be here with you.
Always a pleasure. Stay with us when we come back tonight. We're going to talk about scholarships, what you should be doing. If you're a parent, if you're a student watching, guess what? Now is the time. You're almost too late, you heard me, to begin applying. We're going to tell you now why. Now is the time to apply and where you can go to get some opportunities, scholarships. And then, of course, a little later, love is in the air. We'll explain with me about that. We're back after this. Stay close.
Oh, now I
Right now? This is awesome, though.
I hope I'm still smooth, not greasy. I good? Okay.
Delilah sends to you,
Huh?
Delilah.
Delilah Strap.
Delilah Strap. Oh, sorrow. Say it again. Say it again. Do it again. Do it again.
Lord. Oh, no. Welcome back. Annual college fairs, university partnerships, government support, and scholarship assistance are just some of the primary components of the Charlotte Knowles Thompson Agency. The organization plays a pivotal role in advancing educational opportunities for Bahamian students. Founded in 2014, the agency has successfully placed over 2,000 students from across the Bahamas into universities around the world, securing partial and full scholarships for many of them. 2025 marks the agency's 10th anniversary, and they hope to spend the next 10 years shaping the academic futures of Bahamian students. Joining us tonight is Charlotte Thompson Knowles to tell us all about scholarship assistance and the need to start now. Welcome to the show, Charlotte. It's good to have you.
Thank you so much. It's awesome to be here.
Listen, I've never seen somebody who brings so much excitement to scholarship applications in my entire life than you.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
I've had the opportunity to see what you do and to be a part of some of the work that you've done, and it's just remarkable. I'm impressed, and I'm honored to see to the work and the passion you put into helping so many of our Bahamian young people.
Thank you. It's truly a pleasure. I love helping because I want to see the change.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We want to bring out the best in our students. We want them to go and see the world and experience new culture, and expand their horizons, and then come home and help build this nation.
That's what it's all about.
Take us to the next level.
That's what it's all about.
We got to change the mindset.
Yeah. I'm so excited about that, and the fact that you've been doing this for 10 years.
Yes.
We're going to talk about, in a couple of minutes, the big 10-year salute and anniversary. Before we do that, this back to school. Kids are now 1 week into school, so now the work begins, university, college, high schools. What should be happening now? Is it too early to begin applying for college if you're coming out of school this year?
No. this is the time you start. And that is the reason why my college fair is strategically placed for now. Because before students get inundated with the requirements in order to graduate, the community service, the SATs, the BGCSEs, the coursework, it becomes overwhelming, too much. They put college on the back burner.
Wow.
And so now school has just begun. Now is the time for you to decide and not be out there searching and fishing and looking for anything that's free. I tell students focus on 6 colleges only.
6?
6, one being local.
Really?
One being local.
And why have a local one in there?
You must have, that's a backup. Because something always goes wrong, right?
Yeah.
You can get to the embassy for your appointment and then it's declined for whatever reason.
Correct.
Right? And so because that's declined, now you can't go. But I don't want to see a student sitting at home.
Because they have no options.
They have no options. And so you want to go to an accredited university, local school that's NACOB approved so that those credits that you take here can be transferable.
Right. And it's important to say that because, people, listen, if you've been in high school, you know what happens. Last year at college, everybody goes around the room and say, what college they're going to. And everybody's calling off all these big universities in states they've never been to in their entire life. Because it sounds great. Exactly. And then when the rubber meets the road and you don't meet the financial requirements, or you don't meet the admittance requirements, the immigration requirements, or the embassy doesn't work in your favor, then you have nothing. You're sitting home because you did not apply locally because you're saying, I don't want to stay here.
Exactly.
And then you're hoping the last thing that happen is I can end up being here.
Yes.
And you have no options. So you're sitting out because the local institutions have their deadlines. And if you didn't apply, you missed their deadlines.
And the good thing about the local institutions is if you're a Bahamian under the age of 25 and you graduate with a 2.0 cumulative GPA, you can get a full ride to university. So there's absolutely no reason for you to be sitting at home. One is always local, and it has to be accredited, NACOB approved, so that you can take those credits and transfer them when you go to save your parents some money. The first order of business is parents must have a conversation with their child.
Right.
How much can you afford?
And let's talk about that.
Yes.
Stop letting your child have this wonderful dream and you know that you can't support that dream.
Exactly. Let's be realistic. Say to your child, I can only afford $20,000 per year. And $20,000, if you work with me, you can go to almost an Ivy League school.
Wow.
But you got to say what you can afford. Do not set your kids up. They have notions of grandeur.
Yeah.
They want to go to the school that sound fluffy because that's where their friends are going, right?
Correct.
But my parents and your parents don't have the same bank account, right?
Correct.
So be honest with your child. What can you afford? And so they can focus on schools in that price range. Students will apply to the most expensive schools. And then when it's time to submit the bank statement, parents don't have it.
And that causes them not to get accepted.
Exactly. And you have to submit, right now, you have to submit your bank statement for you to be accepted.
Wow.
Before, they would wait for you to be accepted and go through the immigration process and then submit your bank statement. But now you have to submit it up front. And so I beg parents, have that conversation with your child. I can only afford $20,000 and be considerate.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to go there living a life of luxury, your friends at these Ivy Leagues, and you there, your parents struggling and the light is off at home, but you at university. Come on, let's be realistic, man. Let's do that. It didn't
make no sense.
No.
So it's September. What should they be doing as students?
School just opened last week, like you said. Now, the universities have already accepted the students who are there now for fall.
Correct.
They got them in. They're in, and okay, now we can focus on those students who come in for fall of 2026. Now is the time to be applying for university, and that's where the college fair comes in. Right? So now you've already, and it's mandatory if you're graduating from a local school, you have to apply to a local university, right? Okay. Or college, right? So you're going to focus on 5 international schools. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? The UK, Canada, United States. Where do you want to focus? On the Caribbean, right? Let's have a conversation. Help me help you make this seamless and as pain-free as possible. Right? We know what mommy and daddy can afford. And then I start searching. Send me your grades. I want to see your grades from grade 9. You're not going to swing
From grade 9?
From grade 9. You have to show a consistency.
Wow.
Because if I go and bat for you for scholarships, you got to show the school that it is worth it. You can't be trying to pull up your socks in the last semester, grade 12.
Correct.
I need to see that consistent GPA from grade 9. That's why I tell students to stay focused. Get off of social media. You don't have time for that.
That's for sure.
This is critical time. And so you want to apply to 5 local international colleges. That's it. Don't be around here searching because you have a time when to apply. You have a time limit in which to accept the offer. And now what they're doing is implementing a deposit.
Really?
Yes. A lot has changed. A lot has changed. You got to submit your bank statement, which is 1 year tuition. So if you're going to school, let's just say Hofstra University, that's $85,000 per year. You have to give me a bank statement that's no older than 6 months, showing that you have $85,000.
You cannot be serious.
I am telling you, you have $85,000 available to you in your bank. Now, the good thing is, you can get it from auntie, uncle, pastor, anybody who will sponsor you, but they have to submit a letter saying, I will sponsor Clint while he's at university for the next 4 years, right? But you must show that in order to meet the requirements for the embassy. So that's why it's important for parents to have a conversation with their child. How much money do you have in your account right now? How much money do you have in your account? Let's be realistic. Let's stop wasting time because you have so much other requirements to meet for the government in order to get a diploma. You don't have time for that, right? So that's where this college fair come in. You come in, you meet these universities, international. You have a conversation with what do you have to offer? You know, what is your policy on DEI and do you have study abroad opportunities? Can I work on campus? Yes. A resident assistant job on campus pays for your housing. You need to know where to find and what to be looking for.
That's important to know.
That's important to know. And when you apply for these jobs, you got to show the universities that you are mature because you're going into a melting pot of different personalities. And so when you see a student in campus or in a dorm smoking or drinking, that's not allowed. How do you stand up to the student and not get beat down? But still hold firm and say you are not allowed to do that. And so they're looking for the maturity level. See, these things are so important. You see why it's important to stay focused? These things are important because if you can get a resident assistant job that pays for your housing, that's less money mommy and daddy have to pay. Yeah, so we gotta be serious about this. 6 and done. Apply, submit your report cards. Hold those report cards. It's important. They ask for transcript. The transcript and the report card is the same thing. If once your child gets the report card, you save that, you hold it because now you're submitting that along with their application, their valid passport, any SATs that they may have. And let's talk about the SATs. Hello. So now you know if you're studying in the science, technology, engineering, and math, and you want to be a doctor, who you writing a prescription for and your grades are D, right? Yeah, we're not doing that. And so your SAT scores has to be 1120 or higher. These 890s, the 840s, unacceptable. Now, some schools are test optional, meaning you don't need SATs. But if you are in those areas, you have to have SATs. You don't have time to be wasting. You got to be laser focused. If you want it bad enough, you will put in the work that's necessary in order to get it. Yeah? Apply to these 6 universities, go through the process, submit the documentation, and then you can just focus now on school. You ain't got time for nothing else, right? Windows 5 acceptance letter. If you're accepted, come in. You do the process of elimination with your parents. Why do I want to go here? What is the school offering? Who's the most affordable? How are they recognized? Are they accredited? And trust me, if I recommend a school, it's accredited because I put you through the ropes. I will never send a student from the Bahamas internationally to fail. That's crazy, right? So you don't have to worry about that part. But it has to make sense. Can mommy and daddy afford this? You know, will the light be off at home? Will my brothers and sisters be able to have lunch when they go to school? Because I don't want mommy and daddy to be sacrificing and you know, doing what they want because I want it, but then they're suffering back at home. We got to be considerate. Yeah?
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, are schools around the world interested in providing scholarships for Bahamians?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Are you kidding?
Some of the best students, huh?
Listen, the Bahamas has some of the best students, and I wish I had my photos to show you. The further the student goes, the more scholarship you get.
Wow.
They have to show diversity on their campus in order to get the federal government's funding. And so they want students, they will see me on social media and they'll reach out, hey, we want some students on campus. I just had a university, Gannon University in Erie, Pennsylvania. Their tuition is $56,000 per year.
Wow.
And I say to them, oh, really? You want Bahamians on campus? So what you can do for my Bahamians, I will lobby for you. You understand? My students can get full ride if you're an athlete, full ride to Gannon University.
Wow.
They automatically take $36,000 off of that $56,000 for my students. Hello. My Ministry of Education has a scholarship specifically for Gannon University if you're a research student. So if your balance is $20,000, and you get that scholarship, that's $10,000 off your balance for the year. And that's housing, meals, insurance, fees is $10,000. And there are other scholarships available. So you see how this thing works? That's why you have to be focused. You have to do your research. You have to know what it is that you want to study. And so if I communicate with a university, if you want that aquamarine gold and black on your campus, you better bring it.
Wow. So tell us about this 10th anniversary college fair, when it's happening, where it's happening, and what can people expect?
I am so excited. I'm so excited. I can't believe it's been 10 years already.
10 years, wow.
I can't believe it.
Wow, it's amazing.
It's happening next week, beginning on Friday. And I have all of the high schools coming on. I shout out all of my high schools, private and public. They're coming on the Friday. That's the 19th. And we're going to go on Saturday the 20th and Sunday the 21st. Right? Now, I know I have a whole list of schools here. I know you don't want me to call it.
This is Holy Trinity Activity Center.
This is Holy Trinity Activity Center in Stable and Gardens. Everybody knows that it's the round church.
Call the church, call the schools, because people may want to know if a school is there that they've really been looking at. They might want to hear that school.
Yeah. So we have Austin Peay State University, Avila University. We're going to have some local schools as well, because you can't leave them out.
Of course.
Bamsey will be there, right? Coakley Consultancy. Now, this is a person who I trust with my students. So once the students accept it, I call Ms. Coakley. I say, I need you to help the students.
They help with the visa process.
The visa process.
Gotcha.
And she give my students discounts.
Wow.
Hello, 99.99% accuracy.
Wow.
Detail, right? College of Central Florida, Conestoga College. We're going to have Canada, we're going to have the United States, we're going to have the United Kingdom there as well, right? Emporia State University, Florida Atlantic University, Florida Tech, Full Sail, Gannon University, Georgian College, Jacksonville State University, Kurztown University, Lewis Foundation, that's local as well, McQueen University, Murray State University, Nova Southeastern University, Pittsburgh State University, Savannah College of Art and Design. Everybody knows SCAD. Everybody knows SCAD. Seneca Polytech, Troy University, United Rural College will be there.
Wow.
University of Guelph will be there.
Wow.
University of New Hampshire, University of Prince Edward Island, and Wichita State University.
That's amazing.
I have a great lineup, and I have, listen, don't kill me, please, but I have to give a shout out to Lowe's Wholesale.
Please,
They believed in me, they sponsored me, and I want to shout out Lowe's Wholesale. Thank you, Lowe's Wholesale, because this is not cheap.
Of course.
Right? And so I thank everybody who's helped. They see the vision. They understand how important it is to get these students in one space so that they can come. Because everybody can't afford to do the school hopping.
Right.
You can't afford that. And so I bring the universities to them. They come to one central and they have a conversation. Have a conversation and find out what it is that you can offer Bahamian students. And they're there. And I want to thank everybody who's helping me. It's not easy. The Blue Pearl Empire, the reign of 17. Hello, girls. So I have a list of people behind me, and I can't thank them enough, because this is something that's near and dear to my heart. I'm passionate about it. I eat, sleep, and drink this.
We know that. The entire weekend, September 19th, Friday, 9 to 2:30.
Yes.
Saturday, 20th, 9 to 3. And Sunday, the 21st, 12 to 3.
Yes.
Holy Trinity Activity Center, 10th anniversary. Colleges out there, get the ball rolling.
Yes.
Charlotte Knowles, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations. Happy anniversary to you.
Thank you.
We look forward to hearing the success, and thank you for contributing to building tomorrow's future
Thank
for
you
our
so
young
much.
people. Stay with us. Love is in the air. We're going to tell you what that means right after the break. Thank you, Charlotte.
Okay. Yep. On your phone. Your phone.
Welcome back. Finally tonight, well, are you ready to fall in love? We got the magic potion. And I mean literally fall in love. When we say fall in love, we mean listening to 90s R&B music, something we all love, right? Yeah, I know. Well, if you're interested, we've got a treat for you tonight. Alliance and YBE Promotions will hold a concert. You've been seeing the ads run here on the ZNS Network. Love in November at the National Stadium, featuring a few of the world's most popular entertainers. Joining us tonight with more details is Public Relations and Artist Affairs Manager Keishan Fowler. Welcome home, Keishan.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Good to have you here. So, we're talking fall in love.
Yes.
Fall in love.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
All right, so of course, YB Promotions, in conjunction with Alliance Promotions, alongside Bahamas Air and the Ministry of Tourism, presents a 90s R&B concert series, doing something different, you know, stepping away from the reggae scene,
Right, right.
you know, I'm really used to seeing, and of course, bringing artists such as Tyrese.
You know, people already going crazy right now. They're going
Tyrese
crazy.
alone, from me mentioned Tyrese, I mean, the response has been amazing.
Yeah.
And then we added Uncle Sam.
Mm.
And then we got a little bit spicy, homegrown flavor. We added Alia Coley to the
Amazing,
lineup.
amazing artist.
And then just recently,
Y'all got beside yourselves.
we just got beside
And y'all
ourselves.
add Deborah Cox.
And we
Jesus
added
have
Deborah
mercy.
Cox.
What was y'all thinking? Y'all thinking? I mean, it's a powerful lineup.
Yes,
Powerful
yes.
lineup. I think there are going to be so many Bahamians who love that genre of music that these artists bring, and it just seems like I just can imagine it being a night of just enjoying good music.
Yes, and I'm glad that you just mentioned Bahamians. We are targeting not only Bahamians. And I want to mention that we have a flyaway package.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that are coming from Florida, Miami, that's Fort Lauderdale and Orlando, you can take advantage of the flyaway package. Also, those coming in from Turks and Caicos and Jamaica, you can take advantage of the package as well. And I'm not forgetting our second city and our family
I was about to say, what happened to the family island? You know, they come in. They come in.
Yes. So with that, you get your platinum seating, which gives you access to backstage as well.
Wow.
You get your airfare, accommodations, and ground transportation.
Listen, we're excited. ZNS is obviously a sponsor of this as well. We're excited about this. Talk a little bit about these artists, particularly the headliners, their impact in the music industry internationally.
When we think about 90s music, you cannot think about 90s music and not incorporate Tyrese.
Yeah.
You know, people always, they clown on him and say, Tyrese, he loves to cry. But he knows how to, you know, touch the soul. And then we look at Uncle Sam. I don't ever want to see you again.
Right.
You know?
That's what I'm
Classic.
talking.
And of course, Deborah, oh my word.
How did you get their calls?
How? And I want to just petition the people because they think, okay, this is just for lovers. No, this is not just for lovers. You know, bring your girls out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you want to take advantage of group rates, if you want table lounges, sky pods, sky lounges, you can call 357-0116. And of course, you can get your tickets at all Cash and Go locations, or you can visit cashandgobahamas.com and get your tickets. And of course, our platinum seating, our table lounges, we have a concierge service for you. So it's all
And get it now. You know, don't be the one saying, boy, I had a concert, it was so good. I wanted to go, but I waited till the last minute and I couldn't go. Don't be in that category, right?
Clint, one thing I don't know with Bahamians, we're so last minute. And one thing, you know, with YB Promotions, we're no stranger to the concert
You start
arena.
way in advance.
You know, way in advance. Sorry for those that didn't take advantage of the early bird tickets.
Right.
You can take advantage of our Tier 2 tickets now. And then, of course, tickets are expected to go up the week of the concert.
Wow. Y'all hear that? So don't wait till the last minute. You can pay more.
Please, you're going to pay more. And don't call me.
Right.
I ain't got no tickets.
Yeah.
Don't call Clint.
Oh, listen.
No, so get your tickets now, and I'm admonishing everyone. It's going to be a grand, wonderful concert experience. Think about like a festival, because we're going to have a food court as well. We're going to have the DJ. We're going to have DJ Peen in the food court. We're going to have all of the top DJs, Lil Giant, Pusha Jr., DJ Tank, 1K Guys, you name it, they're going to be on the lineup. So this is one show you don't want to miss. It's all going down at the National Stadium.
November 1.
November 1.
Love, fall in love again. Well, thank you, Shannon. Of course, we're going to be talking to you, leading it all up for the event, so y'all can get used to seeing her here as we talk about it as we get closer to the event. Thank you for being here on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Fall in love, fall in love. That does it for the rundown tonight. Be sure to stay locked on to the ZNS Network for the Bahamas tonight at 11. It's a final newscast in the country with the latest news and information with the man himself, Royston Jones. And y'all noticed Royston last week during 11 o'clock. You're going to be seeing him at 7:30, so he's giving it his all at 11 o'clock this week. For all of us here at ZNS, I'm Clint Watson. Thanks so much for joining us. Good night, everybody.